All over the world, people talk about strange creatures living in deep, quiet lakes. They say they've seen long necks, huge bodies, and ripples where nothing should be. Some call them monsters. Others say they're just stories. But the lakes stay quiet and full of secrets. From Loch Ness in Scotland to lakes in Canada, Japan, and beyond, these mysteries never go away. People keep watching, waiting, wondering. Are these creatures real? Or just our imaginations? This story takes you deep beneath the surface, into cold, dark water, where legends are born, and something might still be moving. Loch Ness Monster, for over 1,000 years, something, or perhaps nothing at all, has stirred beneath the dark waters of Loch Ness. This deep, glacier-carved lake in the Scottish Highlands holds more water than all the lakes in England and Wales combined. It is a vast, opaque body, perfect for hiding secrets. The first recorded sighting dates back to 565 AD, when the Irish monk Street Columba allegedly encountered a water beast in the River Ness. But it wasn't until the 20th century that the legend surged into global consciousness. In 1933, a couple driving along the loch reported seeing a massive creature rolling through the water. Newspapers dubbed it the monster, and public fascination exploded. A year later, the famous surgeon's photograph seemed to show a long-necked creature emerging from the misty lake surface. Decades later, it was revealed to be a hoax, but by then, Nessie had already taken root in popular culture. Since then, sonar scans, underwater photography, and even DNA analysis of the loch's waters have turned up no definitive evidence. What they did reveal was a surprisingly rich and complex ecosystem. Some claim Nessie is a misidentified sturgeon or a giant eel. Others wonder if the sightings reflect something else entirely, folklore, collective memory, or something we don't yet understand about the human mind. Whatever the truth may be, the waters of Loch Ness remain murky, both literally and figuratively. And as the mist rolls over the surface at dawn, some still stand at the shore, waiting, watching, wondering what lies beneath. Nestled between New York and Vermont, the vast waters of Lake Champlain stretch over 100 miles. A deep, misty expanse where legends drift as easily as fog. And in these depths, locals say, something ancient still swims. They call it Champ. The first reports of a strange creature in the lake date back to the early 1600s, when French explorer Samuel de Champlain described a serpent-like animal seen by native tribes. Centuries later, in 1819, a boat captain named Crum claimed to have witnessed a 187-foot-long beast with 3 teeth and eyes like peeled onions. The description was bizarre, but it would not be the last. Throughout the 20th century, dozens of sightings trickled in, from fishermen, tourists, and even a local sheriff. Some described a serpentine back breaking the surface. Others spoke of a dinosaur-like head. In 1977, a woman named Sandra Monsey took what many consider the most compelling photograph of Champ, a hump rising from the water, with no clear explanation. The image remains controversial to this day. Scientists have scanned the lake using sonar. Divers have searched its rocky bottom. No physical evidence has surfaced. Still, locals celebrate Champ as more than a myth. The creature has become a symbol of mystery and wonder. In fact, both New York and Vermont have passed laws protecting Champ from harm, should it ever be found. So, is it a misidentified sturgeon? A massive eel? Or something far older and deeper, hiding just beyond reach? Lake Champlain remains silent. But every ripple, every wave that breaks just right, keeps the legend alive. Ogopogo, in the tranquil waters of British Columbia's Okanagan Lake, a shadow coils beneath the surface. Locals have whispered its name for generations, Ogopogo. Long before European settlers arrived, the indigenous Syilx people spoke of a lake spirit they called Enharaitk, a powerful being said to dwell in the lake's depths, demanding offerings before a safe crossing. These oral traditions were not about a monster in the modern sense, but something spiritual, protective, yet dangerous if disrespected. The name Ogopogo emerged in the early 20th century, after a popular music hall song gave the lake creature a more playful, marketable identity. But the sightings have been anything but whimsical. Witnesses report a long, dark body, undulating like a serpent, often described as 30 to 50 feet long. Some say they've seen a head, horse-like in shape, rising from the waves. One of the most widely circulated video recordings came from 1968, taken by Art Folden, who spotted a strange wake moving unnaturally across the lake. Later efforts to use sonar and underwater cameras revealed large, moving shapes, but never enough to offer certainty. Skeptics suggest it could be sturgeon, floating logs, or even optical illusions. Yet each new account renews curiosity and speculation. What fuels this enduring legend? Is it cultural memory layered over natural mystery? Or is something real, something elusive, still gliding silently through the lake's cold, deep waters? To this day, the surface of Okanagan Lake remains calm. But now and then, it stirs, and people wonder if Ogopogo has risen once more. Issie, on Japan's southern island of Kyushu, lies Lake Ikeda, a volcanic crater lake surrounded by myth, mist, and mystery. It is here, in the deep blue waters near the base of Mount Kaimon, that stories of Issie first began to surface. The legend of Issie dates back to centuries-old folklore, where a grieving white mare is said to have plunged into the lake and transformed into a giant, serpent-like creature. Some say the creature still mourns, appearing to those who cross the lake during times of solitude or sorrow. But beyond the myth lies a series of modern sightings that continue to puzzle both locals and researchers. In 1978, a man captured what appeared to be large, undulating humps breaking the water's surface. Later that year, tourists reported seeing a black creature nearly 30 feet long moving swiftly across the lake. Photographs from that period depict long shapes cutting across the water, blurry, ambiguous, but compelling. Lake Ikeda is over 230 meters deep, and like many volcanic lakes, it holds secrets beneath its still surface. Scientists have found no evidence of large creatures living in its ecosystem, and skeptics point to floating debris, fish schools, or waves caused by underwater currents. Yet the sightings persist, descriptions consistent, witnesses unrelated. What exactly is Issie? A cultural echo of ancient sorrow? A natural phenomenon misread through myth? Or could there be something truly unknown, watching silently from the depths of Lake Ikeda? The lake is quiet now. But legends rarely sleep. Manipogo, along the windswept shores of Lake Manitoba, the waves whisper a name passed down through generations, Manipogo. This vast Canadian lake, stretching over 4,700 square kilometers, has been the site of eerie sightings for more than a century. Described as serpentine, with a humpback and a length exceeding 12 meters, Manipogo is Manitoba's own version of the classic lake monster archetype. But unlike more commercialized counterparts, the story of Manipogo has remained largely rooted in local folklore and eyewitness testimony. Indigenous communities in the region have long spoken of water beings inhabiting the lake. In the early 1900s, reports from settlers began to echo these stories. One of the most cited encounters occurred in 1962, when a group of men fishing near the lake claimed to see a creature surface, its back arching out of the water in a slow, deliberate motion before disappearing into the depths. The creature is said to inhabit the remote north basin of the lake, where the water is colder, darker, and rarely disturbed by humans. Over the years, the sightings have continued. Fishermen, campers, and tourists all describing something that doesn't fit any known species. Skeptics argue that sturgeon or floating logs could explain the reports. Yet no definitive evidence has ever been found. Still, the town of St. Laurent holds an annual Manipogo festival, keeping the legend alive in local culture. Is it myth? Misidentification? Or could something ancient still move beneath those murky waters? Lake Manitoba keeps its secrets well. And the surface tells only part of the story.